had this fucking coughing fit while I'm trying to do 2 episodes a day of the Daily Blitz. Today, during one of them, right in the middle, I had a coughing fit. This was one of the worst things ever. Like, it's one of those coughing fits where I'm sure you haven't experienced this because you almost want to kill yourself. I am reaching for my back because I'm getting shots of pain up my spine while I'm coughing.
Dang, make me want to cough.
Yeah.
No.
Damn, bro, you sure it's just a cold? Maybe we'll get that checked out if you're having that kind of fit. Just saying.
What else would make me cough?
I mean, it might be like more of like a infection or something, aside from just a normal cold.
Bronchitis.
No, man. No, I get this once a year, about this time of year. So,
all right.
What is up? We are back. We are so fucking back, baby. Yes, I am still nursing a cold, so enjoy my lovely voice all night long. That's what she said. Pull up a stool, pour a drink. Let's talk some fucking Buckeye football. Let's take a break from reality and talk about the thing that really matters in our lives. Oh, please, people, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on podcast, I'm eating a cough drop right now because I don't want to cough and shit and snot all over it. Subscribe. Please, for the love of God, our numbers are getting worse. We were at 85% of our viewers of the entire network, of this channel, not just this show, all of the videos, 85% not subscribed. It's subscribe, please. I swear to Christ. It is free. There's no catch. No strings attached. Subscribe, please. Please. I beg you. And the numbers have gotten worse over the last 90 days. So I don't get it. Yeah, it's very simple. Just hit the subscribe button on this video. I'm begging you. I thank you because I know you guys will do the right thing. Anyways, that's how you can support the show. That's how other people can find the show. You know, when they do a search, the show that has more subscribers gets first results. Simple. So do us that small favor. If you're going to watch and enjoy our content, at least just hit subscribe. I don't care if you hit the notifications button. I barely hit that ever. So subscribe, please. Anyways, I don't have to beat you about the head with it. I believe we have some quick bourbon talk. I got Jeff and Shawn in here. Boys, how you doing tonight?
Really good, bro. Good. Real good.
Yeah.
Good. Glad to be back. Had a week hiatus.
Yeah. Glad you're healthy again.
Yeah.
Shawn missed the best show of the year. That's weird.
It's funny how that happens.
Funny how that worked out.
No, feeling good tonight, bro. Working today.
Bourbon?
A little bit of rush, but now I'm good. I got me poured me a nice glass of Rebel 100. Rebels Kentucky bourbon. It's that 100. I got the cast strength, which is good. The 100, it bites. It's you get to sipping whiskey for sure.
All right. Henry, you showed us a lovely engraving. You got some Elijah Craig. Please explain.
Yeah, I scored a couple engraved bottles of Elijah Craig last night at an auction for the kids' school. So pretty happy about that, but I'm not drinking that tonight because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these bottles. They're nice. I've got 2 of them, so I'm sure I'm going to open one and then I'll probably like refill it. And the other one I probably will just keep. I guess I'm not going to reopen it or open it at all.
Yeah.
Smart play right there, Shawn. Smart play.
I think
Drink
that's why
one
they
and
do it. They're
refill
like, all right, one for you and one for, one to keep. I'm actually sipping on some Yellowstone tonight.
Okay.
And it's delicious.
Haven't had it yet.
If you're watching on YouTube, this is the bottle with the Indian headdress engraving from what is the high school officially called, John?
That's Brother Rice High School
In Detroit.
Detroit, the D.
Okay. All right, there you go. So one of a kind right there, folks. Not going to get that unless you visit Shawn.
You ain't gonna get it if you visit me. You might get sick.
Where's that Derringer shit or that baby bourbon?
I kept that.
That's-
I've got that bottle of that Derringer, that bottle and that set's so cool.
Yeah.
Figure out to put
Right.
something else in that, but no, that was drain poured, and that
Yeah.
baby bourbon was also dispatched. I tried, and you mix it, and you try, and then
Right.
you let it sit there for 3 more years, and then you try again, and it got worse. Holy shit!
No, you
yes.
just don't have enough visitors come over and try something.
No, I don't know. You don't want to do that. I mean, you got a reputation to uphold. You don't want to be fucking putting that shit.
He only
out
serves
there.
that shit bourbon. We're not going back there.
Right, like fuck. Oh no, it's great, Shawn, and you know good and well that shit ain't good.
Yeah. You're a lying motherfucker. Just drink enough of it. So yeah, I did have my first bourbon of the week tonight. A little Buffalo. Getting a little scarce around here on the Buffalo. I gotta start scaring up some six bottles. I only buy 6 at a time, at least. Gotta stock that shit up when you get a good price. We are in the midst of season 8 of the Buckeye Cast, in case you were keeping track. Amazon gift card giveaway. You guys remember that? Yeah, you should now. We just bumped that bitch up to $50. $50 Amazon gift card. We are only 25 subscriptions away from giving away that $50 gift card. When we hit 600 subscriptions, everybody can see it. It's public knowledge. We don't hide. We don't take shorts here. We give away a $50 gift card every 100 subs going forward till we hit the big 1,000. Then we're giving away the $100 gift card. So Jeff and Shawn, what do you think about bumping this baby up to a $50 gift card? You think that's going to ramp up some subscriptions?
Well,
go ahead, Shawn.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll do that, but it can buy something now. You get a $25 gift card. Hey, it's nice. Feel like you knocked a little bit something off, but you go out there with a $50 gift card, and now you can actually buy something. You don't have to even kick in. You might get a hoodie or something for $45, something like that. So I don't know. 50 to me mentally is a big deal. It's a big deal.
Okay.
And nice round number. Yeah. Yeah, we are. I'll get the Venmo ready as soon as we're done here.
All right.
But yeah, more
right.
subscribers, everybody.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're climbing the mountain, and I think we're going to get there quickly. We just got to keep plowing away. We need all of our friends to subscribe that are currently watching, and share with somebody that you know is a Buckeye fan. That likes to talk Buckeye football. If you love Buckeye football, this is your meat and potatoes kind of show. It's like your fan talk. We talk. Coaches, players, scheme, we talk shit about the coaches if they fuck up. It's meat and potatoes. We don't get into that, smoke filled back room, Big Ten drama and stuff like that. We don't talk about other bullshit that doesn't have anything to do with on the field kind of play. This is our bread and butter. That's why I feel we're the meat and potatoes, maybe a bourbon before and after dinner kind of podcast. So let's jump into it tonight, boys. We're going to talk about the wide receiver room specifically, but at first I want to mention tomorrow, your daily Buckeye Blitz on Monday is always recruiting focused. And so we're restarting spring practice this week. Buckeyes had spring break last week. This coming week is a huge recruiting visit week. Next weekend. So actually today, Sunday, and Monday is a huge group of California kids, about 16 of them, ranging from class of 24 to class of 27, all coming in to Columbus. They get their own time this just today and tomorrow with the coaches. And this is huge for obviously making inroads in California recruiting, but also gives these kids exposure to the Midwest as a whole. So right now we got the California crew here. They're mostly part of a 7-on-7 team, but then also, like I said, coming next week, there's a Buckeye scrimmage on Saturday, and fan appreciation is coming up on April 1st. But this Saturday is all recruits in, like I'm talking over 16 recruits from just the 2024 class. And I'm talking big time dudes. Peyton Pierce, the linebacker I focus on in tomorrow's episode. Huge James Laurinaitis guy. That is Laurinaitis's recruit. Hands down, that's his guy. He's one-on-one with him daily. He needs to be a Buckeye. 4-star linebacker out of Texas. This guy, I heard an interview with him. He's awesome, smart kid, and is really on board with Laurinaitis, who actually started that relationship when he was with Notre Dame. So again, this week is huge with spring practice gearing back up and the scrimmage next Saturday. So keep that in mind. Stay locked in here. We're going to have the player and coaches interviews. They're going to be doing every position group throughout the spring. So keep it locked in here. We'll have all of those for you on podcast and YouTube formats. So check those out. And spring's going to be over in like less than a month. April 15th is the spring game. So today's the 19th. And yeah, less than a month is the end of spring. You guys got anything you want to add while we're talking spring practice? Anything you're looking for? Anything you want to talk about before we get into the wide receiver room?
Yeah, Joe, just one comment. Yeah, you hear it a lot with other schools. Not so much Ohio State hasn't had this problem, but you know, they start the spring practice, then they get that break for spring break, then they come back. A lot of times, you know, hopefully we don't find out over the next coming weeks of guys that got arrested, guys that got acted up, got in trouble over spring break. Hopefully everybody stayed.
We haven't had that problem since Ryan Day took the head coaching job.
No, and we haven't, and because you didn't hear about it. You hear about SEC schools, or just I can't put names to them right now, but you know, just kids get in trouble on spring break. They go down to Florida or whatever and get wild.
Yeah. And
then you hear about it coming into the season. No, he might be serving a game suspension from arrest back in March or something, you know. Hopefully we don't hear any of that news. And then once the guys are back to practice, obviously more information comes because they're doing things. So looking forward to this week and then able to talk shit about it next week.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to hear much. I mean, the last notable guy I remember from spring break was Dak Prescott getting smacked with a bottle in a parking lot at a reggae concert. Like,
right. I mean, not that I'm expecting it, but if that week when the kids all come back from spring break, you almost like let's hope we don't hear anybody. But Ryan Day has limited a lot of the problems, you know, with kids getting in trouble. So hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah, it's the last thing I think about when I think about spring break. But anyways, anything else? Henry, you got anything you want to add for gearing back up spring practice, recruiting, anything?
No, not specifically or generally. Just, you know, kind of, all right, this is the process. Let's go. Kids that are on campus. Let's get some work in, and maybe you're going to have a chance this fall. But specifically the room that we're talking about. So yeah, it's exciting. The world's their oyster at this point. I think, you've got a lot of guys sitting out. So there's going to be some guys that, you got to find your little spots to get in there. Not everything's given to you.
Sure.
I don't care. And these guys are all big time guys, and you got to find your spot and make it happen for you. So it's always exciting.
Right. Yeah. We got a quick draft question in here. Jeff, you're our NFL guru, correspondent, at least, maybe not a guru. We got Tyrone. Tyrone, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. What round do you see Zach Harrison going in the draft? Jeff, I'll put it to you first. Shawn, go ahead.
All right.
What are you hearing? What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Well, some scouts were talking, with his measurables, he was going to flash and impress at the combine. I think he did a solid job. I don't think he wasn't leading Sports Center with, like what's his name, Richardson was from Florida. He's had like an awesome combine, so the hype started building. I see him going probably late two in the 3. The production's not there. And I think in those NFL players, the more and more I hear from the scouts and the personnel people, that combine's like 10% of the draft process, really. He'll do well on the score on the background. I'm sure all that. They're not gonna find anything about him there. He's a good kid. I think it's just the lack of productions is gonna make him fall. And plus scheme. There's only a certain amount of teams. He's more. I don't know. He might be more of a 3-4 DN than a 4-3. So, but the NFL scouts they're looking at their scheme versus does he fit it? What was he running? What was the scheme in college? How did he play? So, he's not for every team, I think. But yeah, late 2, early 3.
All right. Henry, got any take on Big Zach?
Well, without following the NFL that much, I was going to say 2nd to 3rd round. And I think just based on kind of what Jeff said, he's a freak. He always has been. He came out of high school. He was a freak. Yeah. Every year we look at him like, oh, this dude's about to blow up. And he never does. And there was a lack of production. But I think, and I don't know what the combine or the pro day or any of that has done for him, plus or minus, but he always just looks like a freak. I think he's a good dude, and I think he'll get drafted higher than his production.
Yeah, he's got the measurables
that you'd think. I think you look at him like he's a wet dream. Like they're just, they haven't found the way to completely turn this guy on yet because he's a total freak.
Yeah.
He gets in the right scheme. And they're like, well, look at the fucking steal we got. We got Zach Harrison from Ohio State in the middle of the 3rd, and he fits perfect in our scheme. And then he's highly productive. That's not out of reach for him. He does have his ceiling is high because of his natural ability and gifts.
I would say, say his only drawback really is his lack of bend. He can't bend that edge like Chase Young or one of those elite, Bosa type DNs, rushing the passer. He's kind of stiff,
I don't know, but he's got this like Alonzo Spellman, huge wingspan, those arms.
Right. And those measurables are going to get him, bumped up.
Look for
dudes. I agree.
Look for a team like Pittsburgh if it lines up right in the draft. They run that more 3-4. With Cam, it was like a Cam Hayward in the middle, but you have TJ Watt as your outside rush edge.
Okay.
Maybe more of a 3-4, maybe more of a 3-4 defense. But I think Pittsburgh loves finding Buckeyes in the late rounds.
Right. They do love their Buckeyes. So tonight we're mostly going to dig into the wide receiver room. We're going deep in this wide receiver room because there are so many freaking dudes. We got like a dozen guys in this room, and a third of them are brand new. Like, have been on campus for 2 months, kind of brand new. We want to talk about Brian Hartline, his standard. We want to talk about who's out for spring. We want to talk about a possible rotation, if at all, going into the first game of this fall's schedule. We want to talk about the freshmen, obviously, and dig into how we see this room developing. It's been a real pressure cooker. I think it's amazing, honestly. Just to put it into one word, it's pretty awesome what Brian Hartline has done with this room just in 4 or 5 short years. So let's kick this off. Recruiting. Let's start with the base of the room. Let's talk recruiting, and let's go back to the 2020 class first and work our way forward. 2020 class, Hartline brought in 4 top 100 receivers. That's 4. 2021 brought in a top 10 and then 2 top 100s. 2022, he brought in 2 top 100s. And then this 2023 class that just got on campus a couple months ago is 3 of the top 60 in the country out of the 4. It's pretty fucking impressive. I'm not sure there's a position group across the country that can compare this. You guys want to give me a quick take on that?
Yeah, Joe. The recruiting as far as the rankings, no, there's not another position at any school being recruited with more talent. And it's almost like a laughing joke with national media. Like, well, of course, Ohio State's got 3 first-round receivers. They're now it's expected. You know what I mean? They've gotten that way. They had that run with corners, and it's like, oh yeah, of course, Ohio State's got a first-round corner this year. You know, jokingly. It's that way with receivers now. And remember, 2 of those years, he brought in the top receiver in the country. Fleming and Igbuka were both the top receivers. So yeah, you say you got a top 10 and 2 top 60s. Well, that top 10 might have been number 1. You know, the best of the best. So yeah, I mean, it's unparalleled what he's doing. Even if we hit a lull, we're still going to be fine. If we get a slowdown for some reason. But this year with him moving offensive coordinator, that could you never know what that could bring. So, but I don't expect it anymore. I mean, the relationship, what he does with those kids and how he gets them in, he needs to write like books about it. You know, like a help books for recruiters.
Yeah. Go ahead, Shawn.
Well, to me, it's you can't understate what Hartline has built there. But now it's almost easy because these kids know they're looking at all these guys getting drafted in the early rounds, and JMO transferring out and getting early rounds, and it's like, okay, if you want to be a big time NFL receiver and get taken, you go to Ohio State. He has built it to he gets the pick of the litter. And we don't get every kid, but if you're serious and this is kind of what you want to do, then I mean, you look at Hartline and the young guy, the energy, the passion, can relate to these kids. I think it's a no-brainer that we're getting, 3 of the top 10 kids every year. And I would expect us, as long as we keep putting, JSNs and Garrett Wilsons and Chris Olaves and all these guys in the league, I don't expect that to stop.
Shawn, I think that's a perfect lead in to the next topic of which one of these young guys is going to be the next JSN, Olave, Garrett Wilson. Because I mean, we got the talent's in the program, that's the next part is
Well,
as long as they keep improving.
Don't look now, but the number one kid in 2024 is an Ohio State commit right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Billy in the chat says Ennis in the slot is a beast. I agree 100%. He's just not on campus yet, so we can't actually see that in living color. But as far as just let's focus on the recruiting for just one more second. This is top level recruiting, and he's even lost a couple of these guys. He lost G. Scott, converted tight end out of the 2020 class. He also lost Mookie Cooper out of that 2020 class, transferred and went and started. So just keep those things in mind when we're talking about the quality of this recruitment. And so getting into Brian Hartline's standard, this is really the foundation of the wide receiver room. And I realize, he's taken over as offensive coordinator now, but he's still going to be your wide receiver coach. And the pressure cooker, the extreme standard he has set, which was set before him actually, but he's taken to another level or two. He has the expectations, and the room actually has set the expectation so extremely high. And we're seeing it not just with JSN and Marv now. We were seeing it before then, and that's what's played into seeing JSN and Garrett and Chris. And, now we're going to see Marv as one of those top 10 picks. Hartline has a quote, and he says this all the time. And this is what makes the standard of the wide receiver room. He said, quote, "At the end of the day, if I'm going to pull a guy off the field to put you on, you got to do what he does. I'm not going to pull the left tackle off and put the next guy on for everybody to feel good. So you got to be able to do that. If he's deserving of that, he'll be out there, and that's true for any position. You got to make sure there's not a drop off if you're going to let the opportunity to get on that field on Saturdays." And that's the key. Well, that's go ahead.
That's coach speak too. Of course he fucking says that. What coach isn't saying that? Everyone's saying that. Hey, you earn it. You got to be able to fucking step up, next man up. It's some of that, but it's, does he practice what he preaches? And does that what he mean? Is that what he means? And I believe in this case, he kind of does, because he's kind of shown it, and he's really restricted people's minutes in meaningful games on that stuff. And I really do believe you have to earn it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a simple philosophy. It's a simple message to get across to the kids. Look, you want playing time. Can you do what he does as consistent as he does it? If you can lay it simple like that. Now, by all accounts, Hartline is as of a stand-up guy with these recruits that I've ever heard any recruits talk about a coach recruiting them. He gets glowing compliments from kids that don't even commit to him. And I think the kids that don't commit, maybe because Hartline says, yeah, you're a top 4 receiver, but you're not Buckeye receiver. There might be personality or something else. He's taken, pretty much who he wants. And just because he doesn't get a top 5 kid, that means maybe he doesn't want any of those top 5 kids. He's afforded that luxury right now. At the rate he's at, if he passes on a guy, I don't immediately say, oh, maybe it could have just come down to money now, but it's unprecedented what he's doing. And it seems from all accounts, like I said, he is as real as he portrays himself to be, because these recruits still love him years and years later. So,
and it's league. I mean, is it Bama? Joe, you probably know the stats of who's putting more wide receivers and then maybe high end wide receivers in the league. But Ohio State right now, even pre Hartline, we got a ton of dudes that are relevant in the NFL.
Yeah, Hartline was a relevant dude. Hartline was a relevant dude in the NFL. He had 1,000 yards receiving.
He was. 1 year. Sure he was.
He signed. He got a second big deal. I mean, he got a second deal that was worth some money, some guaranteed money. I mean, did it, Shawn? That goes where? When do you want to start that account? You know, from 90 or from 2000, from 2010?
Right.
I mean, LSU
Exactly.
has dogs. LSU will say, well, yeah, but our guys are some of the best. You know, you might have more, but our guys are better. You know, so it's wherever you want to start that progression. Ohio State's always going to stack up. If you go, the more teams want to stretch it out, Ohio State will still be there because we were good in the 70s. You know, we put pros in the league in 80s and 90s. 90s, we had some best talented teams in the country. So Ohio State's one of those teams that can withstand 50 years of recruiting, being called on, and that won't stop.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. In the last 20 years, since let's say since the year 2000, there's only 4 schools that have 20 plus wide receivers in the NFL: Ohio State, Florida, LSU, and USC.
Those are the 4 teams I would have said. If you would have said, name me the 4 schools, I probably would have went those 4. Because Bama has a run of like 10 years, but that's it. You know.
Yeah, and that's more recent. That's not going back very far.
They had the Ridleys and fucking Jones, the big dude, whatever. He won.
They had Judy. They had
yeah. Then they had their run of like
Yeah.
they had 5 of them in a row at the same time. But
Yeah,
Julio Jones is what I was talking about. Julio Jones was their first big breakout. You know,
right.
excelled in college and then blew up in the NFL. Julio Jones was what, 08, 09.
Right.
So
let's talk about second-year wide receivers. How are they progressing?
Curious, real curious.
Not quickly, I would say. I mean,
I'm real curious because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting pressed by this freshman group. I mean, this is a huge spring of development for Kojo, Caleb Brown, Caleb Burton, Keon Grays. I mean, so you're going to have Emeka and Julian Fleming not participating in any of the team drills in spring. So
No
this opens the
contact,
door
of course. But
for the spring guys to get in there. You also got Jaden Ballard. You got to remember him. He's a third-year guy. So you got the incoming freshman class. 3 already on campus. Ennis is coming in the summer. But see what worries me is that Hartline has shown in the past that he was willing to put freshmen on the field, and we did not see any of these freshmen on the field. Like going back to Chris Olave in 2018, he had 165 snaps. And remember, at the end of his freshman year, Don Brown might be able to tell you about how the last game of the season went for him.
we didn't hear about it. Yeah, sorry, Joe.
Let me go.
Yeah.
457 snaps in 2019 for Garrett Wilson, his freshman year. Jamison Williams, oh, by the way, his freshman year, 153 snaps. JSN and Fleming, both over 100 snaps in the COVID season of just 8 games, 6 regular season in 2020 season.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison played 255 his freshman season. Emeka, 122 his freshman season. So that I'm just piling on here to kind of show that if guys are worthy, speaking of the second year group, they would have made the field. But you can't, like we go back to the standard set. If you're going to take Marv off the field, Emeka off the field, Julian off the field, the next guy has to be able to produce just equally as well. You know, so it's kind of a double-edged sword there.
Right.
And these second year guys got to show some gains. They gotta make strides this spring, and they're going to get their opportunity with Fleming and Emeka being off the field. So you guys have a strong lean on any of these 4: Keon, Caleb Brown, Caleb Burton. Burton did ding his knee. I wanted to address that. We had a question in the chat from Tyrone. Yeah, Burton did ding his knee the other day before spring break, like one of the first or second practices. So I'll let you know if we have any updates on that this coming week, but I don't think it's anything serious. And then Kojo Antwi was the other second year guy. Do you guys have any kind of lean of who might be, who would even crack getting snaps?
Joe, no, I don't. Because all four of those guys could be the same dude in one uniform. I don't know them apart. The Caleb's plural. Yeah, Coach Antwi as a kid, I thought would spark. I thought he was going to be the one that would jump out of that class. We haven't seen anything out of any of the four. So I don't know if somebody that doesn't, somebody like us that is not at practice or got inside information, any fan around or whatever, if they're all just saying, oh yeah, Caleb Burton, he's the one. How the fuck do they know? I mean, we don't know anything about any of the four. Keon Grays, I'm excited about all four of them. I was excited about all four of them when they signed, but we haven't seen them play. They haven't had to produce. I mean, they've been behind a lot of pros. Remind Jaden Ballard. You can get back to him. I think if Jaden Ballard stays healthy, he will be in a rotation for sure. I know you're going to talk about rotation later, but he needs to stay healthy. But I think he made strides last year. It looked like they trusted him. He was playing. He was on the field against Georgia. He was on the field in late games. In a rotation type. But we talked about. I'll skip off of Garrett Wilson and J-Mo when they came in because they didn't have the depth in front of them that these kids are facing when they came in last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
To
mean?
me, that's a big part of it.
J-Mo and Garrett were starting this run. That was Zach Smith's end and Hartline's beginning. That was right at the beginning of it. So they didn't have the depth built up in front of them of, oh yeah, there's fucking 5 guys going to be in the pros. I'm number 7. Okay, cool.
I think a lot of that is the way that these recruiting cycles have come down and the way that kids have left early and and then the way it happens where Olave could have went easily, decided to come back, and some of these other guys and the COVID years, I think things got a little just messed up there. So that's why I'm hoping at least this sophomore class has kind of been on, but I mean, you look at these guys, they're all top 150 in the country overall. They should all be ballers and contributors. At least 1 out of 4. I know everybody doesn't make it, but I would even say 50%. I think we'll find out real quick because if those guys, like you're saying, are out, and I don't think Marv's going to push too hard on some things.
You better not.
I expect these guys to be getting a lot of reps, and all of them, and with it's a huge opportunity for these kids that are there now. Yeah. Huge opportunity because there's not a lot of guys with playing time, and if you can go out there and make a difference, and put your face in there, be willing to block, and those types of things they need to see. Maybe you get the right attitude, the right dude, maybe.
Shawn, I agree with the recruiting. Yeah, I mean, sorry, Joe. Yeah, I mean, we're recruiting all guys that we know that can play. Who steps up this in the spring in the absence of those guys resting? I think that's going to prove a lot. That might give us some separation on the 4. You talk about those 4 sophomores. Somebody's going to get a chance to shine, and you gotta think if Ohio State decided on 4 receivers that year, they're going to hit on 2 of them. 2 of them are going to have the mental to stick with it and excel and improve, whatever. So what 2 are those going to be? I mean, if we're guessing, there's only going to be 2 of them that really, step up and earn time. I don't know. Do you want to take 2 names? You guys want to pick 2 names and see who wins it at the end of the season?
I always thought that the Keon Grays, I don't know. I felt like he had a bunch of hype around him. And I think he's probably the 3rd ranked of the 4. I think he was 88 overall.
But how can they be ranked? I don't know who can rank them because they haven't played. So
I mean,
who's ranking them on what? you mean like the out of high school?
when they were coming out. Yeah, when
Oh,
they were
okay.
coming
I'm
out.
sorry. All right.
'Cause that's all we got,
He
right?
wa-
I mean, yeah.
yeah, right.
I thought somebody was ranking them
And
like last year. I'm like, how the fuck would they know anything?
But I thought the hype was big coming on that kid, more than maybe the others. But I don't
well,
know.
Grace and Burton were both early enrollees, so they would have the leg up on the other two. Kojo and Caleb Brown came in last summer, so technically you could say they're on campus for less than a year versus
Well,
Keon.
But could you tell Joe? Could you honestly tell me that those two that enrolled early are significantly ahead of the other two? You have nobody can make that statement. Not
well, here's what's kind of
Right.
funny to me is I think Joe's right. The hype that I feel was around Grays and Caleb Burton, and it just so happens that Caleb Burton's they're both from honey holes of ours, Lake Travis. Caleb Burton's from Lake Travis in Austin, and Keon Grays is from Chandler in Arizona.
Yeah.
And the other two are from like St. Rita in Chicago, who I'd never heard of until I heard of Caleb Brown.
Well,
And
he went to, I would think, did he go to IMG or is he from Chicago?
it
No,
says
he's
St.
from
Rita.
Chicago.
no,
It says St. Rita.
You're right, you're right.
That's Ennis.
And then Kojo's from
No,
Lambert
it's
and
not.
Sewanee, but that's good down there in Georgia. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think maybe you're gonna. I think one or two of these guys by the end of the year. I think we're really gonna like maybe. Someone's gonna impress us out of here.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause-
we haven't seen any of them. They're all working. All four of them are working in the dark. I can't tell you. I can't remember a play that any of the four made. Like anything
Well,
that stood out to me.
they didn't make any plays in games, Jeff. You would not have seen
Right.
it. But
Well, that's
you can
I'm
say
just proving my
you
point.
can, but what you have to go on is what the other players, the other receivers are saying, and that is
Yeah.
like Caleb Brown was the first receiver to have his black stripe removed out of that class. He was the type of guy that showed the most consistency, according to Brian Hartline. Emeka Egbuka said that he was impressed what he saw from Caleb Brown during his freshman year because he works hard in practice, makes a
He
lot of
was the
big
highest
plays, is very
ranked.
dynamic, very shifty. So yeah, Kojo Antwi, he impressed Brian Hartline by being so physical on the field in practice.
He reminds me of KJ Hill.
He needed to grow was, well, I don't know about that. Hartline said that his biggest area to grow. Hartline said his biggest area to grow was understanding of the game, but he felt like all these guys were starting to hit their stride during bowl practice. They made super long strides that month of, practice. So I none of us have seen anything in games, so I'm not asking us to make a judgment on game play, obviously.
But we should put more expectation on Caleb Brown because of what you've heard.
I mean,
okay, all right. Well, then I'll go into listening in the spring and coming out of spring thinking Caleb Brown, he's the one that should be elevating, and I'll look for him to see how he progresses. I hadn't heard anything about any of those younger receivers.
I know it's.
I haven't listened to every player interview either. So, but I think the freshmen are going to push those sophomores.
What's that, Shawn?
I feel like of any of the four, none of them are out of it. All of them have an amazing opportunity right now.
Oh yeah, huge.
And we got to play more dudes this year. And obviously, to me, we got our three: Fleming, Abuka, Harrison. They may all miss games here and there from injury. You're gonna need dudes, and who's it gonna be? I mean, if those are your three, which I think they are. If you want to argue something different, that's fine. But after that, who's coming in? Is it Ballard? X-Man's probably going to take one of those spots, right? Xavier Johnson, and then
Yeah. You want to get into too deep, or Joe, or
Not yet, not quite yet.
all right? Okay.
I want to finish talking about the second year guys.
Yeah.
but I mean that's where to me, two of these guys could be in there. They really have to be in there. If not, we're kind of fucked. Unless these freshmen are so amazing, but I mean, come on, going against high school kids and what they're about to face is a different thing.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And these guys might be 4 and 5 stars across the board, top 100 guys coming in, and they might be 3 of them are on campus already, all that. But it's going to take quite an effort to leapfrog 4 of the previous class. And I would say Keon Grays and Caleb Brown are my two kind of the two I'm watching from this second year group to be at least cracking the special teams units like punt team, gunners, and stuff like that. I think those are your 2 guys to watch there. And then from there, do they get reps maybe in second or third team garbage time wide receiver reps, but we haven't seen these guys even crack special teams yet, which is your avenue to get on the field in real reps for your position. So Caleb Brown, Keon Grays are the 2 guys I'm paying attention to. We'll see what happens though. Again, this is middle of March, so we'll see what happens.
Joe, I have a question. What numbers are those 2 guys wearing this year? Because I couldn't tell you what they were last year. Do you know? If I'm gonna watch the spring game, I'm gonna know. I just want to see. I'm gonna be able to follow certain guys because aside from the linemen that I spoke about earlier in the season, earlier in our pod season, the wide receiver room in that competition is going to be the second most watched spotlight, I think, because I think there's going to be a lot of movement coming out of spring. Maybe some of those sophomores don't get the news they want to hear, and maybe some of those early enrollee freshmen have already moved ahead of them by end of spring. And we can see some movement, some transfers. Like you said, that room is deep. So
if the Buckeye Ohio State Buckeye football thing is right, I think a few of these guys change numbers, and the guys you're going to want to look for, Keon Grays is number 7, Jaden Ballard 9, Xavier Johnson 10, Caleb Burton 12, Caleb Brown 13, Antwi 14, Carnell Tate. Is Carnell Tate on campus?
Yeah.
Yep. 17.
Harrison obviously 18. And then Kai Saunders 25, Noah Rogers 80, Bryson Rogers, some other people you never heard of. Jupe.
Yeah, I like the two Calebs. Like I said, I couldn't recognize that. They could both be the same person for all I know. I couldn't tell them apart. I don't know what the build is on each one. I know nothing about either of the Calebs, and I definitely didn't know what number they were. So it was almost like a forgotten thing. Like
Caleb Brown's like 200 pounds. He's a converted running back, actually. Number
I like
13.
That. Okay.
He's 5'10", 197, and that's why he's obviously 197. He converted running back. Caleb Burton is a little more slender, 5'11", 169. So different. He's from Austin, Texas. Caleb 169 Brown from Chicago. Yeah, that's what they got him listed as right now. Yeah.
So he's Bryce Young size. Playing. Okay. Well, that's why I relate.
He's taller than Bryce Young, actually.
Okay. All right.
Bryce Young's 5'10" and a quarter.
So
maybe.
Gotcha. All right.
Anyways, so let's talk more about so we covered the second year guys. I think they understand that, and in the interviews last week or 2 weeks ago, they were obviously aware of being under the pressure cooker of having these stud 4 receivers coming in that are highly ranked, all dudes. Ryan David talked about them in his first press conference of the spring. And they also realize they're kind of, cock blocked by NFL receivers in front of them, with Marv, Emeka, and Fleming. Fleming, I think, is definitely an NFL receiver. Where, to what degree, I don't know, but he's definitely a draft pick. But so let's talk about these freshmen. What Ryan Day had to say is that the freshmen, in relation to the second year guys, he said the truth is the second year guys are really going to get pushed by this freshman group. The 3 guys that came in early have already made an impact. We've been very impressed with them. And then Brandon Ennis is coming in this summer. So this is going to be a really good opportunity with Emeka out, Julian out. We're going to be smart with Xavier Johnson and Marvin. Those guys have played a lot of football. So an unbelievable opportunity for those guys to step in and play. And so this is a very, very big spring for them as well. I mean, so he's saying second year guys and freshman guys, huge spring, lots of reps to get because the older guys are going to be limited. This is where you can make your mark to some degree. You got, like we talked about, we got Carnell Tate, 5-star. You got Noah Rogers, 4-star. Bryson Rogers, 4-star, already on campus. 5-star Brandon Ennis coming in the summer. That's what you have breathing down your neck if you're a second year guy. And these are the guys that are going to have to learn the ropes and get on board. You guys have any early impressions of any of the freshmen, guys you like, guys who stand out to you, Shawn?
I don't know. I've always that Carnell Tate. I think when the first rankings came out, Carnell Tate was ranked up there in like the top 10 overall, like way the fuck up there. You're saying he's still a 5-star, maybe in some rankings. I think he maybe dropped to a 4 in composites even. But I like this kid, and I think he's a baller. I think he might have the head for this and might assert himself. I think one of these freshmen are going to. There's going to be, unlike last year, there's going to be a freshman, I think, that gets on the field. Ennis, I think, would be a favorite to do that, but not being there in the spring, that's going to be tough. That's going to be real tough. So I don't know. I'm kind of a Carnell Tate homer on this one.
Yeah, Stephen Cherry brings up a good point in the chat. He says that we don't like playing our freshmen, but I did just outline snaps that freshman wide receivers have gotten in their freshman seasons. Garrett Wilson with the 457, Olave 165, Jameson 153, JSN and Fleming 100 in a shortened season. Harrison 255 and Mecca 122. So it is possible. Hartline has shown the willingness to put freshmen on the field, but you got to show that you're ready. And again, goes back to the standard. I mentioned this like for the 5th time. If he takes somebody off the field, you got to be able to do what that person did on the field. Jeff, you got any takes on these freshman wideouts? I'm sorry, Shawn, go ahead.
No, Jeff,
ahead,
please chime in. Yeah, I was just going to say on this, the Noah Rogers, I know is getting a lot of praise, and a part of it's not just who you are and where your mind is. If your body's right, you can do this against the big boys. But go ahead, Jeff.
Right.
Joe, I was excited about all 4 of these guys coming in. I didn't really favor one over the others. The 4-stars were the high 4-stars. And these guys, the 4-star guys, balled out with the 5-star guys. They were just as good on the team they played on together. So I was super excited about all 4 of them. Having 3 of them there, I can't wait to hear more after see the spring game, kind of see who's getting more reps and more looks. I won't really have a judgment or an opinion even until I probably maybe hear those guys talk in interviews or reported news in the spring game. Also, I'll hold my judgment to the 4. I was excited about all 4 of them, no lie. And I totally thought they were going to push those 4 sophomores. I like having 4 every year. That makes sense. We don't need 6 every year. If you get 4, take your 4, and then you can shift your 4 through. Maybe 2 of those jump the 2 in front of them. Maybe 2 don't. But yeah, I just want to see more of the freshmen. I just want to see more. I want to see after the spring game to see if any of those 3 that are here make an impact or are getting deservable reps.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I was just looking at their body types. So Innis is kind of different because he's 6 foot, almost 200 pounds. And you got to remember, he even played quarterback for his team who needed at American Heritage. They were down their quarterback. He, took himself out of the receiver rotation, was willing to play quarterback with the ball in his hands every play. Obviously, receivers love that, but his body type is different to me. 6 foot, 200 pounds. Sounds like he's kind of rocked up for a shorter guy. You got Noah Rogers at 6'2", Carnell Tate at 6'2". Rogers is almost 200 pounds, Carnell Tate 180. So my point is, you've got a interesting difference here in body types, right? You got 2 longer guys and 2 more of the Brian Hartline body type. Brian Hartline typically goes with like the 6 foot 185 to 195 guy. But now with Marv obviously being a 6'3", 195 guy, now he's going after Noah Rogers, Carnell Tate, those 6'2" bodies, So I find that interesting, creating a little bit of variety in body type there. You guys have any thoughts on that particular build?
I have a whole lot.
I think to me that basically plays itself out. I think Ohio State's getting the best guys, and I think sometimes the best guys are 5'10", and sometimes the best guys are 6'3", and the average is they're 6 foot, or 6'1", and to me that's just we're getting the guys, and it kind of is what it is. I don't even think that we're necessarily targeting this guy or that guy. We're targeting the best guys, period. They just so happen to be a little bit taller this year than they were the year before.
Right. Yeah. 3 of the top 60 in the country. I guess it doesn't matter with their measurements, right?
Exactly. I think Hartline, I think Hartline has a body type that he likes for his spots, but the 3 receivers in that offense
when he was a player,
right? I mean, but in the 3 receiver spots in that offense, I think you need different ability, different facets of, or different types of ability to run in that slot. Like JSN. JSN would not be as good as Marv running what Marv runs on the outside. I don't think so, and I don't think Marv would be as good as JSN is where he is. So I like that. I like that body type that he looks for, but then he finds Carnell Tate and he finds fucking Marvin Harrison. He's like, fuck the body type. He's the best guy. Like Shawn said, he's gonna go find the best guys. He's looking for guys in a certain mold, but he has no problem adapting and saying, well, hey, Coach Day, do you think we can throw some fucking Marvin Harrison's son? He's the receiver of the quarterback we just got. He's 6'3", he's an animal. And Ryan Day's like, yeah, we can figure it out. Bring him. you know. So I'm sure that some of those conversations go. But to your point about our Brandon Ennis and Quan Bolden, that's the type of comparison I see.
Okay.
Anquan Bolden was a dog and is one of the most highly respected players that ever played in his era, for sure.
So you think getting on campus late, you still think like maybe mid-year he could work his way on that field?
With all the talent in front of him, I would not lay any money to that fact. But over his 3 years at Ohio State, and I'm picturing, we're figuring 3 years, right? If these guys are who they say they are going to be, it's 3 years and out. I think he could make some kind of impact. I saw Anquan Bolden for Florida State play quarterback in a goddamn bowl game just because quarterback got injured and he was the best athlete around. And Bowden said, well, let's just give this motherfucker the ball every time and let him figure it out. And he balled out. And then he went on to have I'd say borderline Hall of Fame career in the NFL. But the build and the mentality that I see in this reminds me of Anquan Bolden.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hartline did have an interesting comment when he's talking about the second-year guys versus the freshmen coming in. He said that, quote, it's no different than when Emeka and Marv and these guys came in behind Jackson and Julian and that whole class. It's no different. Jaden Ballard coming in and running against Garrett Wilson made him run and making him run because JB, that's one thing he does really well. So like the way that Emeka would go after Garrett pushes them too. So we've had that consistency and I love seeing that early on. So he's saying that pushing of guys inside the room is what creates this pressure cooker and this drive, this want to be the best. Yeah. And he's created that. Hartline has, and he's taken it to another level since he took over in 2018. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, let's quickly talk about a rotation. First, well, I guess when you talk rotation, the first question is, do you see rotation, or is this just 3 guys and everybody else?
There's definitely a rotation, Joe.
Yeah.
Those three guys have not been able to stay healthy throughout the seasons. Nagging continuous injuries.
Hold on. Let me ask the chat. Everybody in the chat, do you see a rotation? What is your rotation? Give me your 2 deep at 3 wide receiver positions: the X, the Z, and the Y. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Just injury history. I mean, Fleming is highly productive when he's on the field and healthy. We haven't seen a lot of that. Igbuka missed a lot of time this past year. And even Marv will get dinged, and he's coming into his pro year, his payday. He will be more likely to maybe take some time off if he gets some nagging things. And you got to expect any receiver to get hammies and all this other, nagging shit, ankles, whatever. So,
and we got an easy first 3 weeks of the schedule before we go to Notre Dame.
Right. I'm so happy about having those 3 games, like a 3-game run up, because we're gonna get some guys back in the fold late, I think, in the summer or late in the early fall, that might need a couple games tune up until they're ready to go to Notre Dame. So we better have a rotation. I think Jaden Ballard is it's almost like a 4 and 2 more. That's how I would want to put it, just because of the injuries with Fleming and Igbuka, and I'm guessing that they're making sure Ballard's going to be able to play either or. I think he's the first one in. You know what I mean? He's like, so there's 3. Jaden Ballard's the 4.
What is that snapping
regardless
sound? Hold on.
I'm sorry.
What is that snapping sound?
Oh, that's the oak wood burning in the fire.
Okay.
Anyways, sorry.
Go ahead. I just wanted to know what it was.
Yeah, a little background. I just need a little background noise.
That's fine.
After those four, I mean, we're coming after the spring game. I think we'll know who the lead two might be, and that could be any of the three freshmen or the four sophomores. But there's that scrim on Saturday will go a long ways, and hopefully we get some guys that can get there, and we get a little bit of the reports about who was getting those first team reps, in the scrimmage.
But you can only put so much weight into that when you know that basically the starting three are out. and
so
maybe one more. So
but those are gonna be the first, whoever the top guys are coming out of spring are gonna be in the lead for that, that fifth and sixth spots. Yeah.
Look,
You want me to handicap it?
I was just looking for a rotation. That's all. If you're saying you got a rotation of 4, that's fine.
I think it's well. I mean,
That's
I think
what you're
there's going to be
saying,
no. This Jaden Ballard is going to be the replacement at any of the first three, and so there's almost
What
like
about the X-Man?
and then 4. Well, and Xavier Johnson. Okay, it was Xavier will play the slot. Jaden will play the other 2 spots. So so then it's Xavier and Ballard, and there's your 5. Who's the 6th?
That's fine.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Caleb Brown. A lot of expectations with Caleb Brown. He should be in that rotation as the 6th receiver. I'm calling him out right now. Caleb Brown. Stay healthy and get in that rotation. Lots expected from him.
Like it.
Yeah,
What do you think?
Well, I think it's huge, and it's not just, to me, Harrison's pro year. I think it's Fleming and Ibuka's pro year as well. And I think they will fall out, but I also think that they will not rush themselves back into a situation that they're not comfortable with health-wise. And so I could see some, few games off. It's a long season. I mean, if you do the whole thing, it's 15 games. So
yeah,
that's a lot of football. That's a long season. And so you're going to need these guys. I'm with you. I think Ballard, I hope Ballard. If not, then I'm a little concerned, frankly. I think Ballard will be a key piece. I think Xavier Johnson is the wild card to do anything. If we're in a pinch and don't trust anybody, we'll put him in there. All right, he'll get it done.
So you're going.
Maybe we should just put him in there. He's productive every time he's on the field. I love that guy
for sure.
So Henry, what do you got for your rotation besides the obvious 3?
Then I got Ballard and Xavier Johnson. I think he's earned more playing time. I don't think he's going to get it at running back in that, but he's a baller. He's a key piece. You can move him. He can play any of the 3. He can actually play running back. He can play anywhere on that in the offense that you want him to. So to me, again, if say one of the 3 are out, then Xavier Johnson's probably going to be a key piece that they trust to go in there right away.
Yep.
To me, that's the guy. Whether it's any of the 3, probably. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with just a 4-man rotation. I'm going with the obvious 3, Emeka, Marv, and Julian. Then I'm going X-Man as your 4th guy in. I can't right now go all in on Jaden Ballard. I just haven't seen it on the field. I know he's gotten the snaps here and there. He had this past season, he had exactly 100 snaps, 101, and most of them were special teams. So I can't go all in on Ballard being in the rotation just yet. He's a special teams gunner, and that's fine. But one of these guys, one of the Calebs or any of the other seemingly same looking guys in that second year group could could easily take that spot. So I'm just going with the 4-man rotation, and I'm a big question mark for what happens after that. If somebody gets hurt, I don't know. Come back to me. I'll let you know. So hopefully Caleb Burton is fine and will be healthy for spring. We'll see what happens in these scrimmages going forward and the spring game coming up in a few weeks. So that's what I got for you from a rotation. We did have a question in chat I want to address before we get out. Stephen Cherry, lovely Stephen Cherry, always has the best comments. He says Harrison, Igbuka, Fleming, Ennis, and Tate are his rotation, aggressive with the freshmen. And he says, he asks, what has Ballard done to automatically be first off the bench? Legit question. Tyrone has his rotation, Harrison, Fleming, Igbuka, Xavier Johnson, Jaden Ballard, Caleb Burton. Interesting choices there. And then Stephen follows up with, to win a natty, we must start putting best talent on the field. Seniority is outdated. You must have been listening to the Daily Blitz this week, Stephen, because that is exactly what I've been saying about
Well, I mean,
guys on the defense.
But to me, the big deal is seriously next year, and not to get ahead of myself, but all three of those starters, Igbuka, Marv, and Fleming, could be gone, and Xavier Johnson gone. I mean, you're gonna need all new dudes, up and down, and nobody's got any playing time right now.
Yeah, my entire rotation is gone after this year. That's guaranteed.
Yeah. I think so.
Yep. So yeah.
Hey, I would, Joe, if you don't mind, I'd like to address the shot across the bow from Steven, pointed directly at me.
Ahead.
Whereas he says, how the fuck can you say Jaden Ballard deserves to be fourth off the bench?
I don't think he said it that way.
Oh, no, well, okay. That's how I took it. So it must be true. We're projecting, right? I mean, we're projecting for the season.
Yep.
I'm projecting Jaden Ballard to be healthy and taking the natural progression from last year and progressing to this year, because we haven't seen anything, because they haven't even had the goddamn game yet. Or we haven't even seen him go live. So I'm projecting Jaden Ballard makes that leap, and because of his outside ability, he will be the first one off for Igbuka or Harrison. Or, I guess, or Fleming or Harrison. And if Igbuka comes off the field, so that's going to be the base rotation. But who's that number 6 guy? So there you go, Steven. I'm projecting. No, Jaden Ballard didn't prove anything last year. Nobody else did either. There's nobody behind him that's fucking even close. So I'm projecting for next season.
At least he's a third-year guy in the program. That's what his resume exists. So
you got to expect the Hartline, the teaching that he's getting in that program, and all the things that come with being in the Ohio State football program. He's got to get. You're expecting improvement from everybody, right? And he was on the field last year ahead of all the other guys. Like, none of those freshmen jumped ahead of him last year. He was ahead of them last year. If he progresses like we all expect him to do, he was a big time talent, big time ability. He should be, if that happens, he'll be the next best guy we have.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see the freshmen come up and take the spots, and the freshmen blow up to be superhuman All-Americans. I'd fucking love it. But I'm expecting Jaden Ballard to be the next dude.
Yeah.
Cheers, Steven.
So but as spring wears on, we will revisit this rotation. This will change, obviously. At some point, somebody's going to be transferring out. The transfer window opens up in May. Guys can jump in at any point, though. They could jump in now. They just officially can't be contacted by teams until May. So We'll revisit.
What kind of farce is that?
Well, I don't know, but we will be speculating on transfers, and we have our sights, at least I have my sights squarely set on that second year group as possible transfers. So we appreciate everybody joining us tonight. And like I mentioned earlier, please subscribe. I did not say it enough during the show, so I'm going to make up for that at this point. Subscribe. And hit that Amazon gift card giveaway. Leave a comment on that video. Link is in this description. Go leave a comment on the announcement video for the Amazon gift card giveaway. It's up to $50 now. We're 25 subscriptions away from giving away that $50 gift card. So jump in there and please subscribe. We appreciate everybody watching, listening, and we will talk to you same time next Sunday night. Jeff and Shawn, appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Later, bro.
Later. Go Bucks.